the Design and Remodeling Show with Custom Built.
Welcome to the Design and Remodeling Show, where we discuss all things home improvement. I'm Isabel Brodigam with Custom Built Design and Remodeling, and each week we'll bring you expert insights and tips to help you transform the place you live into a home you love. Today I have Tom and John with me from Carpet Studio, and we're going to discuss all things flooring. So Tom, could you tell us a little bit more about Carpet Studio, who you guys are and what you bring to our community?
Carpet Studio has been around since 1972.
Yeah.
In 1994, we joined one of the largest flooring co-ops called Flooring America. So you'll see that our titling and our signage will say Carpet Studio Flooring America. So it's one of the largest floor covering co-ops in the United States.
Amazing. John, and can you tell me a little bit more about your role at Carpet Studio, what you really help people do?
Absolutely. So my primary role is the commercial end of the business. So I work with some remodelers. That's kind of split up between the residential and commercial side. And we do Main Street commercial, doctor, dentist office, things of that nature, as well as more competitive bid, multifamily, schools, hotels, things of that nature.
Yeah, and when a homeowner comes to you, what's that process to get started? They walk into your space, like what does that look like?
Well, we'd like to see them come in with some sort of an idea of what they're looking for. We can help them with our designers and our flooring specialists that we have on staff. We'll help them put that, dream together or that vision together. We encourage them to bring swatches of their fabric, paint chips, countertop samples, anything that might help us help them make that creation.
Okay.
I think also one of the important things, our sales professionals are going to listen when you come in and get a feel for what you are really looking for. Because a lot of times you don't know really what you're looking for when you walk in the door. Mm-hmm. You need that help. You need that insight from someone, a professional who does this every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you have any visualization tools? I know that's a big thing people look for these days, is to be able to see what is going to happen before it actually takes place. Do you have any of those tools available?
We do. So on our web page, you can certainly go in and upload a photo of the room that you're thinking about doing, and then select different flooring choices to do that with. We also have a room visualizer in our showroom, and again, our specialists that are on staff can help them kind of go through the visualizer and put that together for them.
Awesome. And then as far as designers go, is there a cost associated with having a designer help a homeowner if they just come into your studio?
So we have a complimentary design service for the homeowners. Well, our designer will go out to the consumer's home, as well, of course, help them in our showroom. And John can probably tell you a little bit more about what Wallflower does for us. That would be Heather, our designer.
Okay.
Yeah, so Heather, when you come into the store, a lot of times you work with a sales professional, and like I mentioned earlier, sometimes people get hung up. Where do I want to go? What do I really want here, right? What fits? And it's all part of the process. We have an in-store measure person who will come out to the process. But a lot of times Heather will go out to the store or one of our sales professionals to see the whole space. Just makes it easier to get everything put together. Make it all make sense for the homeowner, and it also allows them to tie in other aspects of the remodel as well.
John, earlier you mentioned remodelers, and I've got Michael here from Custom Built as well. So Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do and you're in this conversation, what you're here for?
Well, super excited to be here with you, Isabel, and super proud as a dad to be in this business together with you, and super fun. And both, John and Tom, you guys have been in this industry for a long time. And as I'm thinking about, as we're talking about flooring, and some of the things that kind of come to my mind is, when people come to you initially, what drives them into your store? Like, what are the things that when they come in, what are they saying? What are they frustrated with? What are some of the pain points that they're experiencing with their floors that bring them to you guys?
Well, I think the main one is, again, they've had that look for several years. We have clients that come in that have built a new home and maybe never replaced any of their floor coverings for years.
Yeah.
They see design shows on TV. They see that and they want to change their room. They want to change that space. So they're either going to reach out to a remodeler like yourself to have you come in and give them some ideas, or they're going to visit our showroom again and work with our professionals to see what they can do to make that change in their space.
Yeah. As a remodeler and as somebody that's putting together the entire project and having many partners along the way from our team that's doing the demo and the work, when you get down the line and we have the framers, all this stuff, and then you're the last to come in, very last. And I also think like the surface space that you cover, such an impact on a remodel project. And so tell us about like how you guys have kind of perfected your craft and really knowing that that's the main thing that they're going to see, and they're going to point out, the ding in the floor, things like that. How have you guys, what are some of the things that you help people with up front so they make a good choice and a decision?
Yeah, John, you want to?
Yeah, I think, when they come in, again, we talked earlier, you don't really know what they want. A lot of our remodelers will send in their clients early on in the process. They want to get that going because they realize this is a tough decision.
Yeah.
Right? If you tell them I need to frame this way and your plumbing, here are our options here. They seem to struggle a little bit more in our end of the process. So I think it helps to get them in early. We can start the conversation, get you involved, the builder, the remodeler involved in the conversation, and help them through the process.
And I also think it's going to help you as a contractor to know how to develop that space or what specialties are going to need to be done in order to accommodate the type of flooring that they're going to want.
Right.
Where you go from a ceramic tile might be a different preparation than a hardwood floor or a luxury vinyl plank. It's always good to have that contractor involved in the process.
Yeah.
So we know that we're working together so we don't have those holdups, number one. And again, that final product is going to be exactly what they envisioned.
In your case, we're just a piece of the puzzle that helps keep everything running smooth, right?
Yeah.
You need, as the general contractor, for all those pieces to fit together seamlessly, right? And come together so you have a happy client at the end of the day. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's when you have great partners and great teammates, it sure makes the project go a lot smoother. And I think when I think about all that you have to know to put a remodel together, and you take flooring alone, I mean, how many options are there? It's overwhelming, to the different types and the advantages and disadvantages. And, what are some of the things that people are thinking about, because early on, I know for us, it's super helpful to have a partner like you all that really understands different floorings and different products.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you said overwhelming. Flooring America developed a program for our showroom and our showrooms across the United States called the Room to Explore Retail 2.0. We have our showroom categorized and colorized so the displays make it easy for a homeowner to come in, and if they know they want a natural color and they want to go with a light color, we're going to have it all divided into light colors, and then there's a dark color, and then you got your grays, and it's very, very well put together to help that consumer make an easy process for them. So this Room to Explore has come a long way, and it's not as overwhelming now as it used to be. There's less displays to choose from. It's just about color. Most consumers are going to choose by color. Then we can help them and educate them about what type of flooring they're going to want in their home as we listen to what their needs are and what their household is like. So we're really, really happy to have this Room to Explore. And I think, again, overall it helps contractors, it helps homeowners make the process a lot smoother.
Yeah, and I know you have Heather on staff who can really help with the design choices, but talking about some of the trends that you're seeing right now, what are you seeing for carpet in particular that homeowners are gravitating towards, or that's coming into our industry as this is what's hot right now?
Sure. We have a lot of choices as far as the textures and styles of carpeting. Again, we want to listen to the homeowner to see what their needs are and what their household is like. So again, it's just we're back to the nice plush, warm colors again,
Okay.
And we have several patterns and textured carpets that also work well for the home. Again, carpet is one of the best products too for customers that have allergies. Everybody thinks hard surfaces is the way to go. Carpets actually help attract those everyday airborne dust and debris, and it kind of encapsulates it in the carpeting. As long as you're cleaning it on a regular basis, like you should be, that'll help with those allergies. And a lot of times, the customers always think the hard surface is the best way to go. It's easier to clean, absolutely, easier to maintain. But again, that's just another option. Don't be afraid to put carpet in your home if you have allergies. That was one of the things I really wanted to talk about.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Kind of the opposite of what most people would typically think.
Well,
right? And there's
we hear that all the time, you know. And again, as a remodeler, as a design build company, we have so many things. So like having like, I didn't know that before today. I mean, everybody every day is saying, hey, in the marketing and the, but understanding that's a great thing.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to color. I mean, that's what Heather does. She puts some things, and we can be a little bold. We can put some patterns out there. There's a number of different things we can do, and again, with our help, we can do some different things in some consumers' homes that they probably wouldn't have done if they wouldn't have had the help from a designer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think we really are seeing a lot more patterns going out than we were before.
Okay.
Which is kind of an interesting trend, right? That's a bold move for someone to take, and sometimes they're afraid to make that step on their own. But once they see it, can visualize it, then that helps them get through that process. And
Yeah, so we've talked a lot, about the upfront process of, coming in, the sales process a little bit, getting involved with design. What about the install process? What does that look like for you all?
Well, we have several installers. We have on-staff installers, which a lot of times helps, and it's a little bit of a benefit to us. And we have subcontractors as well. We feel we have some of the best installers in mid-Michigan. They stay loyal to us. They work for us. They've been with us for years. And we take great pride in our installers. That's one of the biggest things that we pride ourselves in. And they're the last ones in the consumer's home. So when they leave, they're vacuuming, they're cleaning, they're picking up on the scraps, and they're very thorough in what they do. And they're really good with our customers. So like I said, we do pride ourselves in the technicians that we use for the installations.
Yeah, and on that point, like, there's so many different kinds of floorings, and I know in working with you all, like, you have different specialties, right? Different types of products. And so tell us a little bit about maybe some of how flooring's not all the same, and how you might use your people in different places.
Okay.
Yeah, so the part of the process, obviously, a hard surface, a carpet. What's the application? Do you have children? Do you have pets? Do you have what is your situation in particular? That's going to drive some of those decisions. I think hardwood became very popular. Hardwoods, laminates, clicks. Carpet is kind of coming back around a little bit. So talking through that process is important. Up front, when we get to the installation end, that's really that comes into the after sale. And I think that's really the most important part, right? Making the sale, you've done that. Now you need to follow through.
Yeah.
And that's really what sticks with the customer long term.
And the importance of having the right person, the right team installing, if you're doing tile versus hardwood versus carpet, is that?
Correct. And what we do a lot is we call it continual education. So the industry is always changing with the products, installation processes, and so forth. So we like to keep the installers aware of those changes. We'll bring representatives from the manufacturers or the distributors. They'll come to our warehouse and they'll do demonstrations on how to properly install the floor. So our technicians are all aware on how to do the proper installation. So again, we want to make sure that these guys are out there doing the installations the way they should be done. So you're going to have a long-lasting floor, and each individual installer has their specialty. We have some that can do multiple different types of flooring, which also is another benefit. It cuts down on the time that we're going to be in a consumer's home. If somebody can do both the hard surface and the carpet, we can schedule them all together and get it done in a quicker time frame than if we had to do, the hard surface 1, 2 or 3 days and then come back in 2 or 3 days later to come and do carpet. Again, we look out for what fits the consumer's needs. So I make sure that we get the right installers on the right jobs.
Well, fantastic conversation. Thank you so much, Tom and John, for coming on. Really enjoyed diving deeper into flooring. And if you have any flooring needs in the future, definitely visit them over at Carpet Studio Flooring America, where friends send friends. They'd love to introduce you to Heather, their designer, and get you started on your project. Welcome. I'm here with Dan from Acme Exteriors, and today, Dan, I'd love to talk with you about vinyl siding. So as I drive around the Lansing area, I notice a lot of homes have vinyl siding. It's a very prevalent material. So could you talk with me through what it looks like when a homeowner comes to you, they've got some issues with their vinyl siding? What are the next steps? What do you typically walk them through?
Yeah, so thank you, Isabel. Vinyl siding is the most common in our area, and it's very easy to repair, easy to clean, long-lasting product, and we get clients all the time that are asking for, can we fix it from breakage? Things like storm damage, it gets dirty, and can it be repaired or replaced is the common question that I get. Yeah.
So what does that look like? I mean, can vinyl siding be repaired or replaced? Like, what's your typical recommendation, or is it very custom depending on the home?
Yeah, so the age of your siding has a lot to do with it.
Okay.
As it ages, it becomes more difficult to repair. But other than that, vinyl siding is very easy to repair. We often will take off a section and put on new, but one of the things to consider is that the colors may not match up. And it's the front face of your house, so we have to be real careful that you may not like the look of it, but oftentimes it can be repaired.
Okay, awesome. And then in Michigan, I mean, we've got kind of an extreme weather climate going on, where we get really hot, really cold. How does vinyl siding hold up in that condition?
It does really well, but in Michigan, it does expand and contract a lot. So sometimes it can be really tough, and it gets beat up pretty well. So it may not last as long, but it still does a good job.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thanks so much today. It was great to hear more about vinyl siding. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to Dan from Acme Exteriors. I'm here with Sam from Consumers Concrete, and today we're going to talk about the difference between garden and retaining walls. So can you walk me through what the difference is?
Yeah, there's a huge difference. So garden walls are typically no taller than 2 to 3 feet tall. You're typically using them for some sort of decorative area, so planters, smaller walls, typically mulch is going in at the top, right? They don't have enough weight to retain large amounts of soil. So you're going to want to use a larger product, which is a retaining wall. You're going to want to use these retaining wall products for large amounts of erosion, or even possibly if you're carving out a hillside for your outdoor living space.
Okay. And then speaking of garden walls, what's the best soil to use next to one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not so much the type of soil, it's the amount of soil, right? It's really important to note that because you're doing smaller walls with garden wall products, that you're not going to want to have a lot of weight on top, and you're going to want to make sure that you don't have poor soils like clay. For poor soils or even taller walls, you're going to want to use a beefier product, a heavier product like a retaining wall product.
Okay, amazing. And a lot of people these days love to do projects at home. So is a retaining wall a good idea for a homeowner to tackle by themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So simpler projects, maybe don't have a ton of curves or corners or a terraced wall, for example. Homeowners can definitely tackle those. But if you've got a more complex project, we're happy to recommend local installers who can help you, or at least take a look at your project for sure. So if you have questions, feel free to go to consumersconcrete.com. We've got more information tab you can check out. We'll get you the resources and ideas you might need for your project quick. So.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Sam. Really appreciate your time. If you do have any questions, reach out to Consumers Concrete. They'd love to help you with your project. I'm here with Michael Flory, founder and CEO of Custom Built Design and Remodeling. And Michael, once a homeowner makes the decision of how they want to approach the project, whether it's DIY, self-manage, or design build, what's the next step? What do you dig in with them once they've decided, they want to go the design build route?
Yeah, well, it really starts with questions, and everybody's different. That's the beautiful thing about this. Some people will have a bunch of stuff all written out. They'll already know their vision. Other people, they're looking for you to kind of ask the questions to get them started. But ultimately what we're trying to get out of them is, what is the thing that's most frustrating about the space and or their home, and if we were able to do this, that was going to hit their vision. You know, so begin with the end in mind and trying to find out where they want to end up in 6 months or a year from now.
Yeah, that's amazing. So really starting with that purpose and then working backwards of choosing all the materials and everything else.
Right.
So what about, I know oftentimes when people call in, it's like timeline, budget. Those are the two things, right?
Absolutely, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. So you start with that purpose and then you dig into the timeline and budget. What does that look like?
Yes, the budget is going to be kind of the next thing, and then the timeline, they'll go hand in hand. And the budget is really an investment. So how much are they wanting to invest? And there's lots of ways to do it, but that's going to be the next thing we'll talk about. And then timelines. You know, how do we get to that finished timeline? And that will be really important in the whole design process.
Yeah. I love what you just said about investment. I think oftentimes people forget that their home, you know, really is a place to invest in. So is that a conversation you typically have with homeowners?
Sure, we're gonna go through and figure out what is most important, and then how to work that into their budget and their investment, and to give them this amazing space that they love at the end.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your thoughts.
I'm here today with Stuart from Northville Lumber, the 5th generation owner of the oldest company in the state of Michigan. My question for you starting off here, Stuart, is tell me why a homeowner should call Northville Lumber versus running over and running through the Home Depot or Lowe's or any of the other big box stores.
Well, we all know that those stores have a lot of things in them. Northville Lumber's focus is on building projects and building materials. Our employees are with us an average of 15 years each, and we have the knowledge and the expertise to help you in any project.
Yeah, and as a builder and a remodeler that does big projects, and we know a ton, and I have a staff that knows a ton, but even for us, Stuart, it's amazing when I call and Kevin picks up on the other line or answers my text, and he's able to answer questions that I wouldn't otherwise know. Tell me how you guys have built that culture within your company, and you know, how you do what you do.
Well, one of the things that we always want to ask anyone that we're talking to on the phone is, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And that just opens up the conversation so that we can truly help and we can use our experience.
Yeah, and I think just the focus too just lowers the anxiety and allows a homeowner to get more clear on where they're going, and then you guys can really guide them.
It is a really important question and answer session.
Yeah. Anything else you would say to homeowners that are getting ready to start a project, how they would get a hold of you? Or
think it through, call Northville Lumber, and be ready to answer some questions. We can help.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm here with Devin from Paul Davis Restoration. And Devin, today I'd love to hear from you about water damage. What are some of the most common ways that you see homes damaged by water these days?
Yeah, we see a lot of sump pumps, after a storm. When we get a ton of rain, we see a lot of groundwater. In the winter, we start seeing a lot of broken pipes when we get below those freezing temperatures.
Yeah, and what are some ways that a homeowner can prevent that water damage from happening?
Well, yeah, you want to make sure your gutters are clean. You want to make sure you rake the leaves away because they hold a lot of moisture. You want to check your sump pump yearly. It's recommended to be replaced every 5 years, but it's always good to check, especially when you know we have a big rainstorm coming in.
Yeah.
You want to pay attention to all those things. In the winter, you want to make sure your home is kept above appropriate heat, especially when you go out of town. You want to make sure someone's checking on the house and making sure nothing's happening.
Yeah. And then what should a homeowner keep in mind when it comes to water damage?
Yeah, a lot of people think with water damage that they can clean it up themselves. And then you can clean up some, but it's not always the case. So there's 3 categories of water. There's Cat 1, which is clean water. There's Cat 2, which is gray water. So I like to think of it as when you bathe or drink, but after. Cat 3 is sewage. So Cat 1, okay, you might be able to clean up yourself, but the Cat 2 and the Cat 3, that's when it really gets tricky. You want to make sure you have someone prepared and experienced, and they really know what they're doing to make sure it's sanitary after you clean it up.
Yeah, so really you'd recommend that a professional comes out and takes a look at.
Yeah, especially for Cat 2 and Cat 3.
Okay, amazing. Well, thanks so much, Devin. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Tom, excited to have you here today and to talk a little bit more about how a homeowner gets started in the flooring process. So if someone's interested in updating their space, what's the first step if they want to connect with you?
Well, the first step would be to maybe make a phone call. Call the carpet studio and set up a time to do a complimentary in-home measure. That way we have the room dimensions, we can kind of see what the space looks like. We can take note of their existing colors and what they may have in that particular space. Then they can schedule an appointment with one of the specialists to come into the showroom and go from there.
Okay, so phone call, in-home measure, and then actually a meeting with a specialist in your space.
Yes.
And what's that meeting with a specialist? What does that look like?
Well, they'll come in again and express what their design ideas are and what they're looking for, and then we can enhance that idea and put everything together, help them with the right selections for their needs.
Amazing. And then from the point that they make that decision to, you know, having the new carpet installed, I'm sure it varies, or the new flooring installed, what does that timeline or time frame typically look like?
Well, it could be anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months, depending on the homeowner and how particular they're going to be, and it depends on if they're in the middle of a project.
Do you get that often, where people will come in the middle of a project and choose?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So again, we work with customers' time frame as much as possible.
Amazing. And then one other question for you: do you offer financing at all?
We do. We have different finance programs. So again, that will help you either maybe enhance the project a little bit more, or maybe add another room.
Okay, amazing. Well, it's so great to connect with you today, and hope these insights help a homeowner as they're in the process. Definitely reach out to Tom if you have any flooring questions. I hope you've been enjoying the Design and Remodeling Show, where we talk all things expert insights and practical tips to help you transform the place you live into a home you love. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you for watching the Design and Remodeling Show with Custom Built. See you next week.